Let's see here. Ooh. Oh my.
What is cracking, everybody? It's MegapiemanPHD here, and welcome to a quick peek at Wrack. Wrack is a fast-paced FPS recently out of Steam Early Access and available on Steam for $14.99 and developed by Final Boss Entertainment. When I say this game is a fast-paced FPS, I really mean it, as players' movement speed in Wrack is ridiculous and sometimes a little bit frustrating. The game harkens back to old arcade FPS games instead of the more modern military shooters. You've got your health packs, ammo packs, armor pickups, secrets, and even points scattered all throughout each level just begging for you to find. Finding them could be a problem though, since someone put all these baddies wanting to kill you in the way, which is always a fun time. Luckily, you've got the perfect way to deal with them. Guns! And swords! Okay, it's only one sword, but guns is still plural. Within your seamlessly endless futuristic black hole pocket, you can house your basic pistol, shotgun, as well as pulse rifle and bazooka, each requiring their own specific ammunition to throw in the face of anything that moves. Running out of gun juice, though, isn't the end of the road, as you always have your sword to fall back upon, which does a pretty good job at slicing up foes. While it's not quite as useful as the sword in a game like Shadow Warrior, it can still take out most small enemies in a single swing, and sometimes even multiples at once. That's a good thing, since combos are a big deal when it comes to Wrack. It's not all the time you run across an FPS with a high score system, but that's just what Wrack is. A FPS with a high score system. And it's got a great way of helping keep those scores varied. Killing enemies in quick succession will start a chain that will last until the meter reaches 0. Keep killing stuff and the meter will keep resetting. Keep the meter around as long as possible and be rewarded with a crap ton of points. And that's the scale. Keeping that score, on the other hand, can be a little bit difficult, because dying resets your score and sets you back to the previous checkpoint you reached. And don't get any bright ideas about save scumming either. Wrack may look and play like an old-school shooter, but it does change things up in a few places, and one of them is the lack of a traditional quick save system. Quick saving in Wrack will boot you back to the game's main menu screen, and when you load it in, will erase that quick save location. This really factors into the game's difficulty, since you have to rely on the specific checkpoints given throughout the entire level. And those are few and far between, unfortunately. Levels in Wrack are pretty big, though not as confusing as some old-school FPS maze-like level design. Many levels have multiple paths that lead to the same area, as well as multiple switches you need to press in order to open a door and progress through the level. Even though levels are big and complex, they are designed very well, with areas of the map almost always leading to other areas, and anytime you need to backtrack through the carnage you left in your wake, the game almost always spawns some new fodder to help you figure out which direction you need to go. Pretty much, if you haven't killed it yet, that's the direction you need to be headed in. There are a few bad things about the level design, though, and its name is insta-kill death pits. I honestly don't know why Final Boss decided to put these in the game, considering how large the level design is, but they are very, very obnoxious, and they're freaking everywhere! I can understand some of them, don't get me wrong when it comes to grabbing secrets, but some of these death pits are in very small locations that are also swarming with things that want to kill you, and can do so very quickly, I might add. Again, this isn't bad on its own, but insta-kill death pits, few and far between checkpoints, and a live system thrown into the mix. That's right, I said lives system. The old arcade quarter eater makes a comeback in Wrack, and it really, really sucks. Lives are very hard to come by compared to how easy it is to lose them, and losing all of your lives causes you to have to restart the level from the beginning, and you don't even have any quick saves to fall back upon. The live system is really the only thing that I can say is wrong with Wrack from a gameplay perspective, so if you can get past that, then you'll probably have a very good time with the rest of the game. The game does have one big problem though, and that is its frame rate. While the frame rate is fantastic for 80% of the game, if you get too many enemies or freshly made body parts on the screen at once, it tends to chug, and hopefully that will be something Final Boss can fix in an update sometime soon. Outside of the gameplay, Wrack's story isn't really all that interesting. It's told through comic book-like panels, which helps tie in with the game's comic book-like theme. Unfortunately, none of its voice voice acted, and there may be a little bit too much story at times for that lack of voice acting or animations, but overall it's alright. Music-wise, the game completely falls flat. The high-octane shoot-fest that Wrack creates craves a fast-paced, pumping soundtrack to go along with it, but the game just doesn't have that. Most of the tracks are kinda slow and repetitive, and none of them are really all that memorable. Well, that's not entirely true, as the music that plays when you die is actually kinda funny. The music always does this very strange dynamic dampening thing that happens when you enter combat or when your character goes into one of his many idle animations. Nice attention to detail there, final boss. There is multiple animations for every single weapon, and it's interesting. It's interesting to see. But I digress. I don't really understand why the music does this, as there's no excuse for it or reason for it. Maybe it's a way for trying to inform a player that there still might be things around that want to kill you, but honestly, I find it a bit distracting when I'm actually playing the game. All in all, I feel that Wrack will eventually be worth its $15 price tag. I say eventually because Wrack, even though it's been fully released out of Steam's Early Access program, the game's still being released episodically. At the moment, only Episode 1 is playable, but the game does come with a level editor as well as built-in Steam Workshop integration, so you can download maps made by the community. Granted that there are actually people in the community making maps for the game. There's also leaderboards for your high score, and time attack levels for those of you who like to speedrun. I really enjoyed my time with Wrack, even though I definitely do not agree with some of its decisions. Like lives. Why? If you really like what you see in this video, I would say pick it up now, but if you're still on the fence, I would suggest waiting a while for the game to get a few more patches in and to see if there will be more episodes released down the line before making your decision to purchase or not. Well, that's all I got for you guys for now. Thank you guys for watching this quick peek at Wrack, available now on Steam for $14.99 and developed by Final Boss Entertainment. I'm MegapieMan, and I'll talk to you guys later. Circle around the colored circles at the upper left-hand corner of the screen. And below that circle will tell you what they're doing. Like right now, majority of them have houses, which means they're building settlements. Building settlements allow you to actually get more population.